Imagine you're driving and your car hits a pothole, and it's the same pothole that's been there for years, getting worse and worse. You pay taxes to fix the roads, yet none of them ever get fixed. You might think to yourself, well, maybe there's an explanation. They're probably using my money, instead of fixing the roads, to fund schools, to make them better, because the education of our youth is very important. But then you notice, year by year, the students' test scores are getting lower and lower. Okay, so maybe it's not school funding either. So maybe the money is being used for the homeless. But then the homeless population has also been increasing. Okay, so maybe it's environmental control. Well, maybe not, because my community was just destroyed by a natural disaster. And the government graciously gave me $750. So obviously the money you have been increasingly giving to the government, wait, let me rephrase this. So obviously the money that the government has been increasingly taking from you is not being spent on what it's supposed to be. So where is this money going? Well, that's exactly what Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is trying to find out. And so far, they're actually killing it. This right here is the National Debt Clock. It's been going on for a few years now, but it just had an update. And that update includes the DOGE department and how much they are saving the American taxpayers. So far, as of filming this, it's at $65 billion, with a B, billion dollars. Saved. Just one example of something that was eliminated was $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia. What? You heard that correctly. $1.5 million that's being spent on DEI in Serbia. And you know the con artists in the government are freaking out right now. And if you don't believe me, let's see exactly what they have to say about what DOGE is doing so far. DOGE is to blame for this mess without legal domain. Very catchy.
Whatever DOGE is doing,
it is
certainly not what democracy looks like or has ever looked like in the grand history of this country.
We are living a nightmare created by Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and we need to wake up.
Thank you, Elizabeth Warren. Very cool. Chuck Schumer. He has a salary of $174,000 a year, yet he makes over $10 million a year. He claims it's through lobbying and business ventures, yet he also has a stock portfolio of over $30 million. Interesting. Elizabeth Warren, the Indian, also makes around $170,000 a year, yet annually she earns over $5 million, and she has a net worth of $82 million. The math ain't mathin', people. When they're scared, you know you're doing something right. And that's just 2 examples. There are thousands and maybe even tens of thousands of people who are stealing from you every single day. So let's look at what type of people the DOGE team actually consists of. Well, you're actually not supposed to know who they are, but their identities were leaked. And they were leaked by none other than a irrelevant Mashable writer? I've never even heard of Mashable. It sounds like a celebrity gossip magazine. All you need to know is he's irrelevant, and he says he's the father of a cat. AKA, he probably bats for the other team, if you know what I'm saying. But at least now we know what kind of people Elon picked. And sure enough, it's exactly what I was hoping for. A bunch of young nerds. These are exactly the type of people I was hoping to see when I think of government efficiency. And check out this guy right here. I can tell just by his eyes, bro is a menace when it comes to efficiency and hard work. He's probably even the MVP of the squad. But it's definitely messed up that their names were released, because now they risk people showing up to their houses and threatening their lives and stalking them. But on the bright side, Elon already set up a sleeping quarters for them in the office, so really they never need to even go home. Which, if I was still a young and single man who had nothing to go home to, except a bed and a TV, because I was there at one point. I'd go home, there'd be a bed on the floor, no furniture, except one chair and a TV, and that's it. I would 100% live at the office. I wouldn't do that for just any job. I'd do this for this particular job because the stakes are so high. So a few criticisms I'm sure you've heard already is the fact that they're too young and inexperienced. Well, I say, counteroffer, being young is the most important part of this entire operation. How many times in your career have you heard an old person say, "We do it like this because that's how it's always been done"? It's a very safe phrase, but it also means that nobody has actually done the research and looked into why it is they do what they do. Young people don't have that problem, and they have no issues challenging the narrative. And that could uncover a lot of issues that were either overlooked or hidden. And anyone who has ever interacted with a government facility knows how bad and outdated their technology is. And I guarantee you some of these people don't even know how to use the technology they have. Because generally, young people are more tech savvy and it's not an issue for them. You're not going to be able to hide your fraud files in secret homework folders anymore. Another fear-mongering complaint that I see a lot, and that these kids are outsiders and not part of our government. And they shouldn't have access to our personal information and bank accounts. First off, why are you okay with the government having that? We already know the government has been spying on us for decades. Edward Snowden exposed this, and the government apologized. And then a few years later, they got found out again, and they apologized again. And each time they swear they're not going to do it. It's like an abusive relationship where they swear they'll never hit you again, and there you are with a black eye a week later. So having an outsider who isn't bought and paid for is perfect. There'll be no more of this. We investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. Young people also don't have workplace biases yet. They haven't been corrupted by the don't go above and beyond mentality or the work your wage mentality. In other words, they'll be more willing to work over 8 hours a day and over 40 hours a week. And young people can more easily dedicate everything to the job. They don't have to worry about my wife wants me home, I need to see my kids, I want to take extravagant vacations. None of that. And here's the thing. I actually envy the kids who got this opportunity. They're the few who get to do what most men want to do. The thing that they'll go to war and die for. A purpose. A purpose to save their country, and not from foreign enemies, but from itself, from its reckless spending, from the corruption, from the greed. There's a chance to bring the US back to its glory and stop eating itself from within. Honestly, I'm really jealous of these guys. I wish I was smart enough to be picked for something like this. Throughout the years, I've worked for a few different companies in various positions, including leadership. And every single time, I always try to give them feedback and ideas on ways to improve the issues that I see and hear, and none of them ever care. It's always the same, we'll look into it phrase, and the same issues persist. I've seen companies cry over giving their workers materials they need to complete the job or safety equipment they need to protect them. Meanwhile, they're wasting tens of millions of dollars on software that never works. And you know what? It's their company, not mine, so they can do whatever they want. I just like to highlight the issues that are running rampant in their organization that they might not have been even aware of. Because a lot of CEOs and business owners don't fully know everything that's going on within their company. And I do that not to be a kiss ass, but because when I get hired for a company, I'm not looking to temporarily be there. I have in mind a permanent relationship with this company where I provide them value and they pay me well. And I do everything I can to make sure that company thrives. Because if they thrive, I thrive. Unfortunately, that's rarely the case because employers don't really care until it's too late, which is exactly what America has been doing for the last 60 years. And you know what? Enough is enough. Now is our time to clear out the waste, clear out the bad habits, clear out the corruption. There is a limited window right now to fix as much as we can to reverse the trajectory of this downward spiral. We deserve transparency within our government, and hopefully Americans are waking up to this. This isn't a left versus right issue. This is not a I love Elon or I hate Elon issue. Accountability is the one thing that matters. And if we can't even hold our government accountable, how are we supposed to hold our own community accountable?